Hello and welcome to Butter Movies. Something happened to Monty Miller, John Hamm, at the end of Landman Season 1, Episode 9, but it's not entirely clear whether he lived or died. As the head of Tommy Norris, Billy Bob Thornton, Oil Company, MTEX, Monty is one of the most important characters in Landman. He makes the big decisions about which wells to dig, which rigs to work over, and his story brings the high-stakes business side of the oil industry. It also put him on the giving end of Ariana's, Paulina Chavez, settlement, however, and the massive payout caused his third heart attack. By the ending of Landman Season 1, Episode 9, it seemed like Monty was going to make some major changes because of his heart issues. He named Tommy as the new Vice President of Operations for MTEX, he offered Rebecca, Kayla Wallace, the job of Vice President of Exploration, and he even said he was going to step back from the job and spend more time with Cami, Demi Moore, and his family. Those changes seemingly weren't enough, however, as Monty's heart rate spiked, and he looked physically uncomfortable just before the episode ended. It's not clear what happened to Monty, but Landman did hint at his fate. Based on how Monty's heart rate spiked and how much pain he was in, it looks like he is either dying or dead in Landman Episode 9. Monty himself said he had a busted, rotten heart, and the constant stress of managing a multi-billion-dollar oil company wasn't doing him any favors. His increased heart rate and physical discomfort could be a sign that he was having yet another heart attack immediately after his third bypass, which would be catastrophic for his health. If Monty didn't already die from his heart complications, he's almost certainly at death's door. There's another hint in Landman Episode 9 that Monty isn't long for this world. The morning after his heart rate increased, Tommy got a call from Cami that didn't go well. While Landman didn't reveal exactly what Cami said, Tommy's response of "I'm sorry to hear that. What can I do? Is there any way I can help?" seems to indicate that Monty is dead. On top of that, the coyote Tommy saw get shot at the end of the episode is heavily symbolic, and it could be a metaphor for Tommy taking Monty's place at MTEX. If Landman did, in fact, kill off Monty, there are a few reasons the show would have taken John Hamm's character out in the first season. Though Taylor Sheridan has an uncanny ability to secure major stars for his shows, the role of Monty may not have been big enough to keep Hamm around. Monty is a side character in Tommy's story, and Hamm may have only agreed to do a single season in a supporting role. It's also possible that Monty dying in Landman Season 1 helped convince Hamm to take the part, as it would ensure he doesn't get roped into a multiple-year-long role. Aside from the possible behind-the-scenes reasons for it, Montys Death also grants Landman a wealth of new narrative options. For most of his time in Landman Season 1, Monty has been establishing how difficult and stressful the financial side of the oil industry is. If he died and Tommy had to take over that aspect of MTEX, Landman would have the perfect way to raise the stakes in a new season. Monty's death due to stress from his work, coupled with Jerry Jones' Landman cameo, also creates a great foil for Tommy's struggle to focus on both his work and his family. Monty's death, if it did happen, would have some far-reaching effects on Landman. Monty was single-handedly managing MTEX's corporate side, and someone else, likely both Rebecca and Tommy, given their recent promotions, will have to fill that role now. That also means Tommy and Rebecca will be working even closer than ever before, which will give them ample opportunities to butt heads again. As VP of Operations, and without Monty to fall back on, Tommy's job will also get even more stressful and demanding, which should set up Landman Season 2 to be even more intense. Tommy's expanded role in MTEX's leadership could also have a big impact on other Landman characters. Angela, Ali Lata, for example, already bemoans how much Tommy works, and those complaints won't go away now that he's a vice president. Cooper's, Jacob Laughland, decision to start his own oil company will also put him in direct competition with MTEX, which should put a new strain on the Norris family. Even Cami could have more to do in the next installments of Landman, as she could either take a bigger role in MTEX or at least figure out what to do without Monty around. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones swings by Monty's hospital room to impart some wisdom about how Monty should spend more time with his kids, but then uses his example of buying the NFL team and employing his children, which doesn't seem like a super replicable model, but who am I to say? After he leaves, Monty seems hesitant to take the older man's advice. He blames his third coronary bypass procedure on a bum heart, not the stress of his business, and worries that he'd have no purpose if he retired. That said, he tells Tommy reluctantly, "I am planning on stepping back and making you vice president of operations." But, twist! He's also offering a VP spot, exploration, to Rebecca, who is the shrewdest negotiator I've ever seen, and she's an absolute killer, Monty says. In the face of Tommy's protests, Monty suggests that he learn how to work with the lawyer, because she's sticking around. Ariana is spooked when Cooper starts talking about their shared future, given that they've only kissed a few times and things are still so weird. She tells him to focus on his own life, but he's got something to say. "I have a dream, but don't know if I have the courage to chase it just for me," he tells her, adding that he's already risked his life and quit his job for her, because he's in love with her. "You want proof that I won't quit?" he asks, lifting his shirt to show her the giant, purple bruise across his chest. "My body is my proof. I took one look at you, and I fell, and I'm still falling." She starts kissing him, but then the doorbell rings, interrupting them again. And she grumbles that God is begging us not to do this. After she dispatches the door-to-door salesman, she climbs on top of Cooper and declares that they're going to find out if they truly have chemistry, and then her son starts crying from his crib. This is God's last warning. "If you don't take it, you're stuck with me," she quips as they keep kissing. Cooper is more than okay with that. Tommy returns home from seeing Monty to find that Angela has made paella and invited Ryder to stay for dinner. Just like in episode 5, Tommy makes a big fuss about how Angela went over the top with her expectations for the meal, and when they talk about it outside, he tells her he's happy to have her do whatever she wants, dinner-wise, as long as he doesn't have to participate. "I think we're supposed to side with him on this, but do whatever you want, but don't expect me to take part," is a bummer of a thing to hear from your partner, no? Landman episode 9 ends with an interesting sequence where Tommy is standing in his backyard after presumably hearing the news of Monty's death. He looks to be contemplating, and he sees a coyote out in the field beyond the yard. He studies it for a moment before the neighbor comes out and shoots it with a rifle, killing it for preying on her pets. There's important symbolism here to break down, relating to the coyote and to the fact that it died, that connects it to Tommy's narrative in the coming episodes. It wasn't even the societal norms that bugged me about their relationship as much as it was the trauma they both shared. I thought their relationship could be nothing but unhealthy because they both had such fresh trauma that they hadn't properly processed. Ariana lost her husband and the father of her child, while Cooper watched 3 men die and was nearly beaten to death. It didn't seem like a great foundation for a healthy relationship. I thought Cooper and Ariana's romance should have waited for Landman season 2 so they could have more time to grieve. It wasn't even the societal norms that bugged me about their relationship as much as it was the trauma they both shared. I thought their relationship could be nothing but unhealthy because they both had such fresh trauma that they hadn't properly processed. Ariana lost her husband and the father of her child, while Cooper watched 3 men die and was nearly beaten to death. It didn't seem like a great foundation for a healthy relationship. I thought Cooper and Ariana's romance should have waited for Landman season 2 so they could have more time to grieve. A pair of young people who are simply clinging to each other to avoid thinking about a traumatic event don't have such a realistic view of the future. If Cooper and Ariana were just trying to block out their pain, she wouldn't have even entertained the idea that Cooper might not love her. Landman has convinced me that Ariana and Cooper are more than capable of handling their relationship in a mature way, and I agree with Ariana that it's worth figuring out. Even if they end up realizing it was a mistake down the line, I now think their relationship is at least worth exploring. Ariana's explanation of what her and Cooper's relationship is made their story going forward in Landman much easier to understand. Now, they're not 2 kids who are stupidly falling in love at the wrong time, they're 2 adults who are trying to make sense of a whirlwind situation. Likewise, if Cooper gets targeted by Manuel and Antonio's friends again, it won't be the result of a mistake, it will be the result of a conscious decision to give their relationship a chance despite the odds. I think their relationship just got a lot more compelling, and I fully support whatever Landman has in store for Cooper and Ryder takes Ainsley on a date to go swimming in a reservoir lit by the gas flare from a nearby oil derrick. She decides that she likes him, and that she's going to test him. So she brings him to the nursing home where she and her mom have been volunteering, and she's delighted when he enthusiastically plays a game with some of the residents. She confides in one of the older women that she wanted to make sure that Ryder was interested in her for more than just sex. The hour seems like a turning point for Ariana and Cooper, so we couldn't wait to talk to Paulina Chavez, who plays Ariana, about what might come next. Read on for her thoughts about why Cooper became Ariana's rock, how Billy Bob Thornton likes his Mexican food and more. I've changed my mind about Ariana and Cooper Norris's relationship after Landman Season 1, Episode 8, and now I think they deserve to be together. Ever since the blowout that killed a big chunk of the cast of Landman, Cooper and Ariana were essentially destined to date. Cooper started helping Ariana around her house, cutting her grass and helping her with her bills. Then, in Landman Episode 7, the two finally kissed after Cooper started staying at Ariana's house to recover from his injuries. While I didn't agree with it then, I've changed my mind now. I'm not the only person who had a problem with Ariana and Cooper having a relationship so quickly after the blowout. Rebecca, Kayla Wallace, was furious with them, and even tried to intimidate Cooper into signing the settlement agreement for much less than it was worth. Elvio's friends even tried to kill Cooper for growing close to Ariana, and even Tommy, Billy Bob Thornton, couldn't understand why they were together. The couple did, however, manage to change his mind in Landman Episode 8, and they actually changed mine as well. At first, I thought Cooper and Ariana were rushing into their relationship. As Rebecca pointed out, in the span of just 3 weeks, Ariana went from being married to Elvio to sleeping in the same bed as Cooper. Their entire relationship felt rushed, which wasn't helped by the fact that there were constantly outside pressures putting them under even more stress. From Manuel, J.R. Villarreal, and Antonio, Octavio Rodriguez, constantly trying to scare Cooper away to the settlement Rebecca has been trying to get Ariana to sign, Cooper and Ariana just didn't seem to have enough time to actually form a strong bond. The oil tycoon is really angry when he hears that Ariana knew to counter because Cooper was there, but he agrees to the amount as long as she'll sign a non-disclosure agreement. But then Nathan informs Monty that Ariana won't sign unless all three families get $1 million each, and the gazillionaire goes nuclear. He agrees, but wants to fire Cooper. Rebecca points out that's wrongful termination, and illegal, but it doesn't matter because Cooper quits right then and there. After he hangs up, Monty's heart starts doing weird things in his chest, and I'm pretty sure it's not growing 3 sizes. In a last-ditch effort, Rebecca explains that Ariana can never sue MTEX for anything if she agrees to take the money. Ariana asks Cooper what to do, and he advises her to sign the agreement. Rebecca is a big jerk to both of them on her way out, though Nathan is much kinder. "You quit your job over me," Ariana says, in tears, after they've gone. "I'm going to run an oil company one day, and I'm not going to run it like that," Cooper responds. They're both having some pretty big emotions as she keeps crying, lamenting that it's too soon to feel what I feel for you. But when Cooper suggests that they wait a while, she says she doesn't want to, and that she's going to fix up the spare room for him. Later, when he's in pain, as he tries to put his shirt on after a shower, she comes to help him. She admits that she doesn't see the upside of his new situation, out of work, beat up and living with her. "Looking at you is the upside," he says quietly, "and is it any wonder they're kissing soon after?" They're interrupted again, him, frustrating pattern we're establishing. Maybe it's not a pattern. It's God warning us to stop. By a knock at the door, it's Tommy, who has pieced together what happened after talking with Nathan and Monty. Ariana invites him to stay for dinner and won't let him go. Ryder takes Ainsley on a date to go swimming in a reservoir lit by the gas flare from a nearby oil derrick. She decides that she likes him, and that she's going to test him. So she brings him to the nursing home where she and her mom have been volunteering, and she's delighted when he enthusiastically plays a game with some of the residents. She confides in one of the older women that she wanted to make sure that Ryder was interested in her for more than just sex. The hour seems like a turning point for Ariana and Cooper, so we couldn't wait to talk to Paulina Chavez, who plays Ariana, about what might come next. Read on for her thoughts about why Cooper became Ariana's rock, how Billy Bob Thornton likes his Mexican food and more. I've changed my mind about Ariana and Cooper Norris's relationship after Landman Season 1, Episode 8, and now I think they deserve to be together. Ever since the blowout that killed a big chunk of the cast of Landman, Cooper and Ariana were essentially destined to date. Cooper started helping Ariana around her house, cutting her grass and helping her with her bills. Then, in Landman episode 7, the two finally kissed after Cooper started staying at Ariana's house to recover from his injuries. While I didn't agree with it then, I've changed my mind now. I'm not the only person who had a problem with Ariana and Cooper having a relationship so quickly after the blowout. Rebecca, Kayla Wallace, was furious with them, and even tried to intimidate Cooper into signing the settlement agreement for much less than it was worth. Elvio's friends even tried to kill Cooper for growing close to Ariana, and even Tommy, Billy Bob Thornton, couldn't understand why they were together. The couple did, however, manage to change his mind in Landman episode 8, and they actually changed mine as well. At first, I thought Cooper and Ariana were rushing into their relationship. As Rebecca pointed out, in the span of just 3 weeks, Ariana went from being married to Elvio to sleeping in the same bed as Cooper. Their entire relationship felt rushed, which wasn't helped by the fact that there were constantly outside pressures putting them under even more stress. From Manuel, J.R. Villarreal, and Antonio, Octavio Rodriguez, constantly trying to scare Cooper away to the settlement Rebecca has been trying to get Ariana to sign, Cooper and Ariana just didn't seem to have enough time to actually form a strong bond. 12. Whatever has been growing between Landman's Cooper and Ariana since the series' 3rd episode turns into something real, if undefinable by both parties, in Sunday's hour. Rebecca kicks off the episode by getting Cooper alone in Ariana's backyard and using every bit of that self-assured intensity she displayed during the deposition. The money MTEX is offering, she says, is enough to set up Ariana and her son for a long time. But if the widow wants to seek damages from the company, well, then we must scrutinize everything. Every family, she threatens. And this? I mean, do you have any idea how bad this looks? Husband dead less than a month and you're sleeping in his king bed? The one person who survived the explosion completely unscathed? She insinuates that he knew exactly what he was doing on the day of the explosion and, in fact, set it up to kill Elvio. I will crucify you to destroy her, and I do mean to destroy, she continues, even though Cooper argues that nothing she's saying is true. I reject your truth, Rebecca replies. I think I'll invent my own. Inside, she and Nathan try once more to get Ariana to accept their settlement, but the young mom wants to know what Cooper thinks. $1 million, he says. You weren't standing on that doorstep this morning at 7 a.m. because you're sitting on a strong case. He points out that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, and other regulatory agencies would have a field day with the accident. Also, he's sure MTEX hasn't told their insurance company about it. They're cornered. As Rebecca fumes, Nathan calls Monty. They've barely begun when Tommy asks what, exactly, they're doing. Ariana says they're trying to figure it out, getting angry as she points out that the 22-year-old worm on a workover crew would not be my solution to her problems. She does not back down under Tommy's scrutiny, explaining that Elvio was nice, but Elvio never looked at me the way Cooper looks at me. Not once, ever. She's on a roll, and it's not long before she's firmly suggesting that Tommy be on his way. Judge me all you want from that truck, but I will not be judged in my own king house, she says, moving him toward the door. For his part, Tommy seems equal parts amused and admiring of the widow. Son, he tells Cooper as he leaves, you might have outkicked your coverage on this one. Then he lets Ariana know that he thinks she's one of the few people who actually deserves happiness, and takes off. Tommy then heads to the Patch Cafe, where she repeats her insinuation from earlier. Cooper had the knowledge and wherewithal to get the pump jack to explode, and she can prove it in court. Tommy gets mad, fast, threatening her and kicking the bastard out from underneath her as he leaves. Elsewhere in the episode. The Texas governor agrees to Monty's request to have the Texas National Guard train in the area where they're having problems with the cartel. The idea, a strong militaristic presence will deter drug activity on oil company property. It goes sideways, though, when the Guard practices air assaults in the area where a drug transfer is underway, and one of the explosions blows up a van, killing at least one person. Monty's chest pain doesn't go away,